Hey Columbus and First Christian, this is Josh Burnett from the hashtag Celebrate Columbus show. I'm really excited to do a segment on a minister from our community. His name is Dan Wallace. I've known him for the last 19 years and so have you, and we want to celebrate him and his time here at First Christian as well as his community involvement in Columbus. So thanks for watching this special edition of the hashtag Celebrate Columbus show. So Dan, how has Columbus shaped you?
In so many ways, I'm not the same person I was when I came here 19 years ago. Columbus gives us an opportunity to volunteer in the community in all aspects. You're challenged to be the best you can be, to do for others, and just to be involved with all parts of our society and all parts of Columbus on the map.
What have been some of those projects and community operations that you've been a part of that you've really enjoyed?
Sure. Most recently, the Green Up we've been doing with celebrates Earth Day. That started about 10 years ago with a couple people from our church, started partnering with the city, and then Cummins and other churches. And last year we had over 300 volunteers over a 2-day period that helped make our community better.
What are some of the other important projects that you've been able to collaborate with other organizations outside of First Christian?
Okay. I've always enjoyed partnering with the Visitor Center. They were a great help with our Dickens Village. Most recently, the past 2 years, they've had Crutch the Halls, which they've opened the Miller House. And I've been able to provide some music with my friend Vanessa Edwards on the violin. And that's just fun to sit at that piano where J. Irwin Miller sat and some of his distinguished guests, and just be a part of the history here and to see it move forward as people want to learn from our past.
So, along the years, there's been many different transitions here at First Christian Church, but one of the things that's been the same has been you and your presence. What have you enjoyed about these last 19 years here at First Christian Church?
The stability of the people and the community. The community moves forward, but yet there's this mutual respect for inviting new people in. I was always able to be a part of those things as well as the church. I have good friends here because I've been here 19 years. I now get to go to high school graduations of kids I was at their birth, and that's just most incredible. Like for teachers, the opportunity to see and be a part of those kids' lives is just a total blessing.
One of the things that many people around Columbus know you for, in addition to music and your role here at First Christian, is your love of photography. Talk about where that comes from and how much you've enjoyed doing photographs here in Columbus, of Columbus or people. Tell us about that.
Sure. I can remember when I was 9 years old, begging my dad for a camera, and he just thought you could buy postcards, and so I had to build a case that I wanted a camera, and I can remember the day he said, okay, you can buy one, and it was like a little brownie, but it was green. Through that, what I just loved was seeing different things, and as like even last night, I was driving around town. I was over at the bridge, Stewart Bridge. Oh, are the red and green lights still on there? And how can that look different? But what I found is I've met so many people through those pictures, talking with them, sharing with them, seeing them differently as I see them through the lens of a camera. I think my favorite story, in fact, it was last winter. We had basically had a snow and then an ice storm. And the Stewart Bridge just looked incredible with that background of white snow and ice. So I looked at, I think it's the 2nd Street Bridge, the old bridge. Well, there's like a 1-foot walkway. And so I decided at 4 o'clock, the sun was right. So I walked to the middle of the bridge and started taking some of the most awesome pictures. Well, what I found out later was 1, if not 2 people thought I was considering suicide.
Oh no.
It was just bizarre. I just had no clue. And then a policeman came up, and I've talked with him since, and he talked me off the bridge. And it was kind of embarrassing, and I wanted to make sure it didn't go any further. But I just said, I had to get this shot. And he said, well, I just want to make sure you're okay. Is everything okay? But I just love, that's one of my favorite pictures, and you can only take that in Columbus. Some, of course, of our buildings, and I've been blessed. 3 years ago, for the first time, I climbed the First Christian Church Tower. And I climbed in the fall, and I can't remember how many hundreds of steps it is. And I'm not very physically fit, so I was exhausted when I got up. But I was able to take a picture of the courthouse in the fall with the beautiful background of all the trees. And what I realized in the picture, it's full of life. There are cars coming across the bridge, which shows movement and life. You can see steam and billows in the back. And everything's happening. And if you look real close, there's the flag at the courthouse in front, and I waited until it was waving to make sure you saw that our community is alive.
Dan, talk about some of those people in the community that have shaped you over the years and have invested in you and helped you become the person that you are today.
Well, I think the past 10, 12 years has been the Moyer family, Teresa and Jason Moyer. They have 8 incredible kids. And I'm fortunate enough to take them to movies, and we do some things together. They sing as a family here in our church. And what I've noticed is how respectful they are. And they've helped me grow to better understand children and families. When we go to the movies, we went to the Star Trek 40th anniversary last year, and I carried my original vinyls for them to see. And one of the kids, I think it was Micah, sat by me and told me through the whole movie, now this is what's happening and this is why and all this kind of stuff. And it was just fun to be around that next generation that reminded me they're our future. I love the phrase, so that the future can learn from the past. And they're helping teach me about the future.
So Dan, the question that everyone has is, what's next for you?
Sure. Well, over the past couple years, I've been thinking what my next steps are. And last year, we did a conference called Reaching Your Summit, and it's about our next steps. And I had planned this, and we had professionals come in and speak specifically to our baby boomers and what their retirement looks like, which is different from our grandparents. And after the conference, I actually sat down and read all the materials, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is for me. So what I feel God calling me to do is I would like to move back to my home, or close to my home, which is Williamsburg, Virginia. I was in the IU Methodist chaplaincy program in the fall, and that was an incredible experience to be at Methodist Hospital as a chaplain, and I got to visit over 300 patients in 15 weeks, as well as classes, and be mentored by other chaplains. So what I think God wants me to do is be in some form of chaplaincy, spiritual care, but bringing along with that music. Music therapy is so important in our day's world. And also just the outreach, the community effects of how doing things together with our community. If you know, Methodist Hospital is an inner city hospital and a cutting-edge educational medical facility. So we got to be around every part of society, and that reminded me how big the world is and how big Columbus is, a continual reminder that there's all different phases that shape who we are.
Dan, how do you want to be remembered?
Sure. I don't think it's so much about me specifically. As you know, our church has a great heritage, and what I've learned is some of the people I respect the most, I don't necessarily know their names, although there were some key leaders in our church, but I think we're all here for a time to carry the church and the community forward. That's how we leave our mark, not so much a name, but we've helped contribute things that have helped our church grow. I'd like to think that some of our outreach ministries have shared Christ with people. And that's in their hearts. They don't necessarily know who did some of the things, but most importantly, those ministries made a difference in their lives. And I just think that's the most important thing.
Well, as we close this special edition of the hashtag Celebrate Columbus show, Dan, I just want to say thank you for your investment here in the community. I know as a little boy and now to a young man, you've made an impact on my brother and I's life. I remember you used to always call us Big Shot. And
you are.
The truth is, though, you're the big shot, and we're so thankful for the investment you made here at First Christian in the community. As we close this special episode, how would you like to say, see you later and thank you to Columbus? We'll go ahead and talk to Columbus.
Sure. Well, I just want to thank, first of all, First Christian Church and the leadership for embracing me and taking a chance on me. They really didn't know me. The opportunity to work together, to be challenged to new things, and for the church to be open to new and different things that might not be the fad, but are a good fit for Columbus. I'd like to thank the community as I just, my mind just races, just walking down Washington Street. The people I see that I've worked with in our community that I would like to think have made it better. I'd like to thank the Columbus Regional Health Foundation. I've been able to volunteer with them to help raise money for them care, which was volunteers in medicine, and just to see that whole side of medical care and helping people that maybe might need a lift up. And so those are just some of the things, and I just think about different people in our church. I think about North High School and the band directors there that have raised incredible musicians, Bill Stoltz and Keith Burton, that for 10 years we've had some of their students, and they are excellent because of the teachers they have.
As we wrap up this special edition of the hashtag Celebrate Columbus show, we want to thank you, Columbus, for watching this show, for supporting Dan and his ministry and volunteer involvement here in the community. Thank you for watching this special edition of the hashtag Celebrate Columbus show.